experts say machismo and toxic masculinity are still prevalent in our culture. As Father's Day nears, let's look at how we can take part in ending the stigma of toxic masculinity. Joining us now is Miguel Valdez of mental health care provider Mind You. Thank you so much for joining us, Miguel. First of all, define for us, what is toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity would be the false assumption or the belief that men should not be vulnerable, they should not display insecurity, and they have to be strong, constantly strong, and never have to share their weaknesses with anyone.
And how prevalent is this toxic masculinity among Filipino men?
I wouldn't say that it's just exclusive to Filipino men because it's a phenomenon shared across the world. You could actually see it in terms of the number of people availing from mental health services. So in our data here in the organization, about 27% of our users are men versus the 69.9% which are women. Okay, so you can already kind of see the discrepancy in terms of the ratio of men and women availing to talk about their emotions and to try to get better. And this is consistent even with the data in the UK. I think for the UK, 36% of people who avail of mental health services are men. So it's consistent across the world, not just the Philippines.
And what does this eventually lead to? Can it be harmful to society? Can it also be harmful to men themselves?
Yeah, the worst case scenario that it can manifest is that men who refuse to seek out assistance, they become desperate. And, desperation is never a good thing for people who are struggling. In worst case scenarios, it can evolve into a mental health problem or an incident. On a more moderate level of stress, they could have heart problems, hypertension, things like that. So mental health problems need to be addressed and expressed, and the more this idea that men should not share this weakness to look for help is one of the major causes for that expanding.
And Filipino men, let's talk about Filipino men in general. Do they like to share their feelings with a psychologist or a psychiatrist? Do they like to open up? Or is it all pent up, bottled up? And then they release that energy in the wrong ways and in the wrong avenues?
What I can say, though, based on our data, is that when the men do ask for help, they really open up. But they're very few and far in between. And you are correct in a sense that when men don't address these issues, they tend to, transform into other things. One of the biggest issues really with toxic masculinity is that monkey see, monkey do. If the father does not know how to communicate his emotions, the child will not learn as well, especially if it's a young boy. So the advice I tend to always give parents is that the father and the parents have to expand their emotional vocabulary and transfer that to the child so that the child can articulate, and communicate their emotions, because that's a complex thing to share towards another person.
Where does this toxic masculinity come from? What is the root of it? Is it inherited from their fathers? Or is it their environment, family, colleagues? Miguel?
I would say that it is a byproduct of people's perceptions of what we should be. A stereotype in a sense. It is a stereotype that men should be strong. And it's that absolute concept that there's no gray area for men to be anywhere else except this that becomes a problem in terms of how they seek help and reach out to others. So it's a cultural thing. It's also the nature of how business works. You have to be some businesses require men to be strong, not display any emotions, and that is another I suppose supporting factor that encourages it.
And how do men in general try to reach out to Mind You? Is it through text messages? They outline their problems, or do they really want to make that call, or face to face?
Okay, so we have an online platform that organizations partner with us, and then we provide unlimited mental health counseling to our clients. one of the ways that we actually get men to start talking is that men like to fix things. So we have to educate them about the science and the systems of their emotions, because only then will they start to see that, okay, this is the pieces that I've been dealing with, and I can start working on it. Because, like I said, men like to fix things.
Miguel Valdez of mental health care provider Mind You, thank you so much for sharing with us your insights.